All right, let's talk about something that happens all the time at work. Have you ever poured your absolute heart and soul into a project? I mean, it's your baby, right? Only to have a new lead brought in over you? It's such a classic dilemma. It pits your pride and your hard work against what the business needs to grow. So we're going to unpack this whole thing. We'll figure out when that feeling of ownership is a superpower and when it's actually holding you back.
So to kick things off, let's look at a question from a developer who's right in the middle of this exact situation. And I'm willing to bet this is going to sound super familiar to a lot of you out there. Oof, you can just feel the frustration in that, can't you? This isn't just about a job. It's personal. It's about your identity. I mean, when you build something from the ground up, it feels like it's a part of you. So the gut reaction, the emotional reaction, is to protect it, right? And maybe even just quit. But is that really the best move?
Okay, to really get to the bottom of this, we need to flip the script. Let's look at this whole thing from the other side. We've got a story from someone who was actually hired as that new lead, and their perspective is, well, it's pretty eye-opening.
Now, this person wasn't some villain brought in to steal the spotlight. Nope, they were a specialist, kind of like a surgeon, contracted to fix a very specific and very urgent problem. So let's take a look at what they were walking into.
So let's put on our company hat for a second. This project's been running for over 2 years. 2! And it was totally lost at sea. The scope had just ballooned out of control. You know, classic scope creep. And there was literally no end in sight. For a business, this is a code red emergency. What started as a cool passion project was now just a black hole for time and money.
The lead's mission then was crystal clear: bring order to the chaos. This wasn't about some hostile takeover or rewriting everything from scratch. It was about creating a roadmap, setting goals you could actually hit, and, finally shipping the product. This was all about project management and just getting it done. But you can probably guess what happens next, right? When you try to put structure on something that's been one person's baby for years, well, it can feel like an attack. And this is exactly where good intentions started to clash with a really defensive mindset.
And what's really interesting here is how the lead tried to handle it. This wasn't about taking control, it was about helping. The goal was to mentor the original programmer, to make the task super clear, and to trim all those distracting bells and whistles that were slowing everything down. Basically, all the stuff you need to do to turn a cool idea into a real successful product.
And this is where the two worlds just completely collide. You've got the lead on one side trying to mentor, trying to introduce positive, professional changes. But on the other side, the developer is taking everything as a personal insult and fighting every single change. This is that exact moment when ownership goes from being a good thing to a really, really bad thing. Every suggestion feels like an attack, and teamwork just dies.
So, how did this all play out? Well, as you might expect, this is where the story takes a turn, and it serves as a powerful warning about what happens when that attachment stops you from growing professionally.
I mean, that says it all, doesn't it? The specialist who was brought in to help, to save the day, left with a total nightmare experience. The friction was just way too much.
And when you really dig into it, the problem wasn't a lack of skill. It was a flat-out refusal to evolve. The developer's identity was so wrapped up in being the sole creator that they just couldn't adapt to being part of a team. They couldn't accept feedback, and they couldn't see the bigger picture for the business. That sense of ownership had become a massive obstacle.
Okay, so let's bring this all the way back to our original developer's question: should I quit? Well, based on this whole cautionary tale, the lead offers some very different and frankly much more constructive advice. Instead of just walking away, what if you reframe the whole situation? This isn't a threat, it's a massive opportunity. You've got a new mentor you can learn from, you've got an extra pair of hands to help with the load, and you have a chance to pick up new skills in things like leadership and collaboration. It's about making that crucial career shift from my project to our project.
And that's really the bottom line here. In any fast-moving career, being able to adapt isn't just a nice-to-have skill, it's a survival skill. Holding on too tightly to how things used to be is pretty much the fastest way to become irrelevant to how things need to be. So we'll leave you with this question to think about. Taking pride in your work is absolutely essential, but it's worth asking yourself, does your sense of ownership help your team win and move forward? Or is it building walls and getting in the way of growth? The answer could define the next big step in your career.